Hello class 12th. Here we will start next chapter, that is chapter 4, The Enemy, from your Vistas English book. Let's know about the writer. Pearl Seidenstrucker Buck was the American writer and novelist. She had the Chinese name Cai Zhenjiu as she spent her childhood in China. She was born on June 26, 1892 in Hillsboro, West Virginia. She was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for her novel The Good Earth in the year 1932. She became the fourth female writer to win the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1938. Then, finally, she died in the year 1973. The story is written by Pearl S. Buck, who has created a heart-rending portrayal of the conflict that goes in between a man's heart and mind. It tells about how people can help enemies on the human grounds. To hate our enemy is natural and justifiable feeling, especially during the wartime. But the story beautifully depicts how a human being can rise above his prejudice to help the wounded mankind. The story is set during the time of the Second World War. A Japanese doctor named Dr. Sadao found an American prisoner of war in dying state near his doorstep. As being a doctor, he felt that what he had to do, he was in dilemma that should he save the wounded man, or being the true Japanese, he should hand him over to the army. Hence, it was quite difficult choice for him to decide whether he should allow himself to be governed by emotion or he should work with reason and hand over the enemy to his army people. You have to think what the doctor has to do, whether he is to allow himself to be governed by the emotion or he is to use the reason and let the enemy die. See the chapter. Dr. Sadao Hawke's house was built on a spot of the Japanese coast, where as a little boy he had often played. The low square stone house was set upon rocks well above a narrow beach that was outlined with bent pines. The story starts with the introduction about the main character, Dr. Sadao Hawke, who was the famous Japanese surgeon and accomplished scientist. Dr. Sadao's house was situated on the coast of Japan, where he had spent his childhood days playing near the coastline. His low-height house was made up of stone, and it was set upon the rocky beach, which had a boundary line made with the pine trees that were tilted towards one side. As a boy, Sadao had climbed the pines, supporting himself on his bare feet, as he had seen men do in the South Seas when they climbed for the coconuts. When the doctor was a child, he used to climb up the pine trees with his bare feet. His art he had learnt during his visits to South Seas, where the men used to do so in order to pluck the coconuts from the trees. His father had taken him often to the islands of those seas, and never had he failed to say to the little brave boy at his side, "Those islands yonder, they are stepping stones to the future for Japan." Yonder means to point towards something from the distance in some direction. So here it is informed Dr. Sadao's father used to take the boy Sadao to the islands of South Seas more often, and there he used to point towards the islands and say, "Look boy, those islands were the stepping stones towards the future of Japan. Where shall we step from them?" Sadao had asked. Seriously, who knows? His father had answered. Who can limit a future? It depends on what we make it. As a boy, Dr. Siddhau used to ask the father very seriously from where they would go to those islands. To this, his father used to reply that nobody knows about the future. It depends on the mankind how to shape it, whether to create it or to spoil it. So it depends on your actions of present that was going to shape up your future. So be concerned and serious about your present. Sadao had taken this into his mind as he did everything his father said. His father, who never joked or played with him, but who spent infinite pains upon him, who was his only son. Infinite, that means endless. Here it is said, Sadao had retained all the things, whatever has been taught to him by his father as a child. His father never played or joked with him, as they shared a mature relationship, as his father had undergone a lot of sufferings for the upbringing of his only child. His father's main concern was the education of his child. For this reason, he had been sent at 22 to America to learn all that could be learned of surgery and medicine. He had come back at 30, and before his father died, he had seen Sadao become famous not only as a surgeon but as a scientist. That was why he was sent to America at the age of 22 to study surgery and medicine. Then he returned back at the age of 30. That's why before his death, Sadao's father was able to see his son not becoming the famous surgeon but also scientist. Because he was perfecting a discovery which would render wounds entirely clean, he had not been sent abroad with the troops. Render, that means to cause something to be in a particular condition or to make up. Troops, that means armed forces. As Dr. Sadao was on his way to discover a treatment with which all the wounds could be made absolutely clean. That was the reason he was not sent abroad with the armed forces as a doctor even at the time of the Second World War. Also, he knew there was some slight danger that the old general might need an operation for a condition for which he was now being treated medically, and for this possibility, Sadao was being kept in Japan. And another reason for which he was retained in Japan, because the army general of the country he knew, being old, he was suffering from some illness for which he required the help of this doctor. That's why he was not sent even the time of war in the other countries with the armed forces. Clouds were rising from the ocean now. The unexpected warmth of the past few days had at night drawn heavy fog from the cold waves. Sada watched mist hide outlines of a little island near the shore and then come creeping up the beach below the house, wreathing around the pines. Fog means mist, outlines means outer area. Wreathing, that means intervening or twisting. Wrapping, that means covering. Here the writer is describing about the climate outside Dr. Sadao's house on that day, as the last few days had unusually gone to be very warm. So the sea waves had turned to be cold during the night, and this had affected the weather to be foggy and misty. Sadao watched mist hide outlines of a little island near the shore and then come creeping up the beach below the house, wreathing around the pines. In a few minutes, fog would be wrapped about the house too. Outlines means the outer lines of some figure. Wreathing, that means twisting. Wrapped, that means covering. Now Sadao watched how fog was hiding the outlines, that means the boundary of the little island near the sea beach. It made the island invisible, and then gradually it was moving towards the beach below his house. It was intervening and twisting around the pine trees. Within a few minutes, he knew the fog was going to cover up and wrap about his own house. So there would be mist all around his house very soon. Then he would go into the room where Hannah, his wife. But at this moment, the door opened and she looked out, a dark blue woolen hori over her kimono. She came to him affectionately and put her arm through his as he stood, smiled and said, "Nothing. Hori is a loose outer garment worn over the kimono. Kimono is a long, loose Japanese traditional robe having wide sleeves and tied with a sachet." Affectionately, that means lovingly. Before Sadao could go inside, the door opened and his wife, Hannah, she came out. She was looking for the husband. She was wearing the dark blue colored gown over her traditional Japanese dress, that was kimono. She lovingly crossed her arm with us, smiled at the husband. She stood by him but remained silent. He had met Hannah in America, but he had waited to fall in love with her until he was sure she was Japanese. His father would never have received her unless she had been pure in her race. Though Dr. Sadao had met Hannah in America, but before falling in love with her, he had inquired about the race of the girl, as his father would not have approved of the marriage with the girl who was not Japanese. Sometimes the doctor used to surprise to whom he had married if he had not met Hannah. He considered himself to be very lucky to have met Hannah accidentally at the house of his American professor. That was by chance. The professor and his wife had been kind people, anxious to do something for their few foreign students. And the students, though bored, had accepted this kindness. Anxious means excited. Dr. Sadao felt his professor, along with his wife, both were quite good enough and excited to help their students who belong to the other countries. Though he felt bad, but somehow he accepted their kindness and attended the party. Sadao had often told Hannah how nearly he had not gone to Professor Harley's house. That night, the rooms were so small, the food so bad, the professor's wife so voluble. Voluble means talkative. However, Dr. Sadao felt glad more often to share with Hannah that it was mere coincidence that he had been to Professor Harley's house, as usually he felt bored to attend his house because of the three reasons. Firstly, the rooms of his house were very small. Secondly, the food had been always very bad. And thirdly, Professor's wife had been very talkative one. That's why he used to ignore all the visits and invitation by the professor. But he had gone, and there he had found Hannah, a new student, and had felt he would love her if it were at all possible. But he said it was his good luck he had gone there that night and had got the chance to meet Hannah. At that time, Hannah was a new student, but the doctor made the mind that if he would love someone, it would be with this girl only, if it was possible at all. Now he felt her hand on his arm and was aware of the pleasure it gave him, even though they had been married years enough to have the two children, for they had not married heedlessly in America. Heedlessly means carelessly. Even after so many years of marriage, both Sadao and wife, they still love each other. Even they had now the two children in their lives. They had not married in a haste in America. Sadao felt the hand of his wife on his arm. They had finished their work at school and had come home to Japan, and when his father had seen her, the marriage had been arranged in the old Japanese way. Although Sadao and Hana had talked everything over beforehand. After finishing their school in America, when they returned back to Japan, and when their father had seen everything about their marriage had been arranged in the traditional Japanese way, he had given the approval for their marriage. Though all these things had been already discussed before their wedding, they were perfectly happy. She had laid her cheek against his arm. Hence, both of them were happy with each other. Hannah rested her cheek against her husband's arm with affection. It was at this moment that both of them saw something black come out of the mist. It was a man. He was flung up out of the ocean. Flung, it seemed, to his feet by a breaker. He staggered a few steps, his body outlined against the mist, his arms above his head. Then the curled mist hid him again. Staggered means to walk unsteadily, as if about to fall. Flung means thrown outside with force. Breaker, that means a heavy sea wave that breaks into white foam on the seashore. So here it is said, the moment when Sadao and Hana, they were enjoying the view of the scene from the veranda, they saw the appearance of some figure out of the mist. That figure appeared black in color due to the mist in the atmosphere. It was the figure of some man who would have been hit and thrown outside the ocean by some crashing waves. When the man tried to walk unsteadily with his arms above the head, the outline of his body became visible, that means seen out of the mist. But he was able to walk a few steps. Then once again, the heavy mist made him disappear over there. Who is that? Hannah cried. She dropped Sadao's arm and they both leaned over the railing of the veranda. Now they saw him again. The man was on his hands and knees, crawling. Then they saw him fall on his face and lie there. Leaned, that means bent forward. On seeing this figure, Hannah reacted and asked the husband, who was that man? She took her arm out of Sadao's arm and both of them bent forward over the railing of the veranda to have the closer look at the man. They saw him again. But this moment he was crawling on his hands and knees. Then he had fallen on his face and kept on lying there. They thought probably the man had fainted. A fisherman, perhaps, Sadao said, watched from his boat. He ran quickly down the steps, and behind him Hannah came, her white sleeves flying. Here, Sadao said that it would be some fisherman who would have been washed off from his boat. Now he ran quickly down the steps, and his wife, Hannah, she also followed him, and hence her white sleeves were also flying in the air along with her running. A mile or two away, on either side, there were fishing villages, but here was only the bare and lonely coast, dangerous with rocks. The surf beyond the beach was spiked with rocks. Bared means uncovered or open. Surf, that means the crashing waves. Spiked means covered with sharp points. So here it is said, the area where the doctor was living, it was very less inhabited, but a few miles away there were the villages of the fishermen on each side of the coastline. But the part of the coastline where he was living, it was always open and deserted one. Nobody came there because it was full of the dangerous rocks. As the beach beyond The crushing waves was full of the pointed rocks, so the doctor felt the man who had somehow managed to come through these spiky rocks would have been badly hurt and would have been badly injured due to the presence of the pointed rocks over there. They saw when they came toward him that indeed it was so. The sand on one side of him had already a stain of red soaking through. Stain means dirty mark. When the Japanese couple they reached there, they found the man in the same condition which they were assuming. They realized that really the man was badly injured. The sand on which he was lying there, it was full of the blood stains on one side, which indicate that the man was badly torn and wounded. "He is wounded," Sadhu exclaimed. He made haste to the man who lay motionless, his face in the sand, an old cap stuck to his head, soaked with sea water. He was in wet rags of garments. Sadhu stopped Hannah at his side and turned the man's head. They saw the face, a white man. Hannah whispered. Haste means hurry. Motionless means unconscious. Rags means torn clothes. So here it is said, Sadhu was much surprised to see the man who was in the injured condition, but he didn't make haste to see the face of the man, which was buried towards the sand. His old cap, it was hanging on his head, but it was too soaked with the sea water. Yes, it was a white man. The wet cap fell away, and there was a wet yellow hair, long as though for many weeks it had not been cut, and upon his young and tortured face was a rough yellow beard. He was unconscious and knew nothing that they did for him. Yes, it was some white man. That means the injured man was some American. When his cap fell off, they were able to see his wet, yellow, long colored hair, which had not been cut for a long time. But he was young. His face had such marks which indicated that he had been tortured badly by someone. He also had rough, unkempt, that means uncleaned, yellow colored beard. As he was fainted, he never came to know about the presence of the Japanese couple and what they were doing for him. Now Sadhu remembered the wound, and with his expert fingers he began to search for it. Blood flowed freshly at his touch. Again Sadhu reminded of the wound of that American, and his expert fingers started searching itself for the depth of that wound. But with his touch, the blood started oozing out of the wound. On the right side of his lower back, Sadhu saw that a gun wound had been reopened. The flesh was blackened with powder. Sometimes, not many days ago, the man had been shot and not been tended. It was bad chance that the rock had struck the wound. Tended, that means looked after. Then he found that on the right side of his lower back there was a gunshot, and with his touch it had reopened, and the flesh of the man was blackened with the gunpowder. It means he had been injured many weeks ago, but he had not got any medical help to treat his wound. That's why the flesh over that part had blackened with the gunpowder due to lack of the medical treatment over there. It was the bad luck of the man that the sharp pointed rocks on the shore had again pierced it badly. That's why it was bleeding. Once again they found the mist had intensified and wrapped over their bodies. Now 3 of them could not be spotted by anyone, as it was the end of the day. Even the fishermen and the beachcombers who used to collect the things over there, they were also assuming this to be the ending time of the day. So that's why they supposed nobody could come and see whatever they were doing over there. how he is bleeding, Hannah whispered again in a solemn voice. The mist screened them now completely, and at this time of day no one came by. The fishermen had gone home, and even the chance beachcombers would have considered the day at an end. Solemn means serious. Screened, that means hide. Beachcombers are the persons who walk along the beaches to collect the interesting and the valuable things over there. Now Hannah showed her concern about the man who was injured and said in a low and serious voice to the husband that he was bleeding very badly. What shall we do with this man? Saddam muttered, but his trained hands seemed of their own will to be doing what they could do to stanch the fearful bleeding. Muttered, that means to say in a low voice. Stanch means stop. So here Saddam asked to himself what he should do with this man. But his skilled hands, they were doing their work of stopping the excess bleeding of this man. He wanted to save the man, whether he was the enemy. He packed the wound with the sea moss that strewed the beach. The man moaned with pain in his stupor, but he did not awaken. Sea moss, it is a kind of seaweed. Strewed, that means to be scattered untidily over some place. Moaned, that means to cry with pain in low voice. Stupor, that is a state of unconsciousness. Here, the doctor, he thought to stop the excess bleeding of the man. So he did the packing of this wound with the sea moss that had scattered all over the beach. The man then cried with pain in his unconsciousness, but he did not woke up. The best thing that we could do would be to put him back in the sea, Sadhu said, answering himself. Now that bleeding was stopped for the moment, he stood up and dusted the sand from his hands. However, the doctor was self-satisfied now, as he had saved the life of a dying man by stopping his excess bleeding. So he thought that he has performed his duty as a doctor best now. So he stood up and dusted the sand from his hands and replied to himself the best thing was that they should put that man back into the sea as he was their enemy. Yes, undoubtedly, that would be best, Hannah said steadily, but she continued to stare down at the motionless man. If we sheltered a white man in a house, we should be arrested, and if we turned him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die, Sadhu said. Steadily means firmly or strongly. Hannah supported the opinion of the husband very strongly, but she was looking intently at the man who was lying unconsciously over there. Then Sadhu said that if they would give him shelter, they would surely be arrested for sheltering an enemy in their house. But if they would hand him over to the Japanese army as a prisoner, then the man would definitely die in the prison. The kindest thing would be to put him back into the sea, Hannah said. But neither of them moved. They were staring with a curious repulsion upon the inert figure. Repulsion means strong dislike or hatred. Inert, that means motionless. They thought then both options were not morally favorable for them. So the best option for them was to put this man back into the sea. As they were thinking, both options were not favorable. But at this, Hannah said that the best, kindest thing would be that they should put this man back into the sea. But both of them were not moving ahead to do the same. Rather, they were continuously gazing at the motionless figure of this man with more dislike. They disliked this man because he was their enemy, an American he was. What is he? Hannah whispered. There is something about him that looks American, Sadhu said. He took up the battered cap. Yes, they're almost gone, was a faint lettering. A sailor, he said, from an American warship. He spelled it out. U.S. Navy. The man was a prisoner of war. Battered means torn and worn out, otherwise damaged. Now Hannah showed her interest to know about this man, about his identity. Sadao replied that the man appeared to be the American. Then he picked up his torn and damaged cap and read the words written over it, which had now turned to be dim. But he said that the man was a sailor from an American warship and read out the words US Navy written over his cap. Hence, they concluded the man had been taken into the captivity during the war. He was the prisoner of war. He has escaped, Hannah cried softly. That is why he is wounded in the back. Sadao agreed. They hesitated, looking at each other. Then Hannah said with resolution, Come, are we able to put him back into the sea? If I am able, are you? Sadao asked. Now, Sadao and Hannah discussed about the man. They understood the man had tried to escape from the prison and had been shot at his back. To see the critical condition of this man, they could not gather the courage to throw him into the sea. But anyhow, Hannah called upon the husband with more resolution, with more firmness. She asked him if he was ready to put the man into the sea. At this, Sadao replied that he was ready, but he asked Hannah if she had the courage for it. At this, Hannah replied and refused that she was not ready. If Sadao could do by himself, he should do it alone. Sadao hesitated again. The strange thing is, he said that if the man were whole, I could turn him over to the police without difficulty. I care nothing for him. He is my enemy. Here Sadao showed his reluctance in throwing the man into the sea. He reasoned that if the man were whole, that means if the man was well, he would have easily hand him over to the police without any hesitation. He is my enemy. All Americans are my enemy, and he is only a common fellow. You see how foolish his face is. But since he is wounded. Here the doctor said, emphasizing that that man was his enemy, and all the Americans were his enemies, just like they are for all the Japanese people. And he is only a common fellow. You see how foolish his face is. But since he is wounded. Here the doctor commented that the injured man was just like a common man for him. And he said, when he looked at his face, he also found him to look as silly as all the Americans just look like. But here he wanted to say that he was least bothered about the injured man. But his only concern was that right now he was wounded and in a dying condition. From this point we come to know that personally this doctor, he also hated the Americans because they were the enemies to their nation. You also cannot throw him back to the sea, Hannah said. Then there is only one thing to do. We must carry him into the house. Here Hannah understood about the intentions of her doctor husband, as he was also not ready to leave the dying man in such condition. So she said that she understood that she could not throw him into the sea. Then she said the second option here was to carry this man to their home. But the servants, Sadao inquired. Here Sadao showed his fear and concern about the domestic servants. He said they could raise objection as they won't be ready to shelter the enemy to their nation in the home. So he got afraid. We must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police, as indeed we must, Sadao. We must think of the children and your position. Intent here means intention. Then Hannah suggested to the husband they would clearly explain the things to the servants what they intended. They are going to hand that man over to the police till he would recover completely. She also told him that they must do the same. She said that they have to consider very seriously about their children's future and Sadao's own position as a doctor. It would endanger all of us if we did not give this man over as a prisoner of war. Certainly, Sadao agreed. I would not think of doing anything else. Henceforth, Hannah showed her fear too. She said if they won't hand that prisoner of war to the police, they would get themselves in danger. To this, Sadao replied, certainly they would do the same, as he was not thinking of doing anything else beyond that. Being a doctor, he only wanted to save his life. Despite knowing the nationality of the injured man and even understanding and ignoring all the fears, threats, and the risk he and his family had to undergo due to that man, the doctor finally resolved that he would give importance to his duty and was thus compelled to help and save the life of that enemy. I hope you well understood this part of the chapter. Now wait for the next part in the coming video. For more informative videos, you can do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching the video.